and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I'm a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. Today's video is a great one because it's an amazing success story from a coaching client of mine. We were at a session yesterday. She relayed that to me. I asked her permission if I could share it with you guys. She said, absolutely. Feel free to share it. Feel free to inspire people with my story. And so here we are. The story in a nutshell, and I'm going to go into details in a moment, is that this client was told that she probably had breast cancer and she made that mass disappear by manifesting, by moving her consciousness to being healthy. So I'm going to give more details on that story. Stay tuned. So the story goes like this. My client went for her annual Well Woman's exam, and as part of it, she had to have a breast ultrasound. Now, she told me that she knows the doctor pretty well. She's known her for several years. So when she went into the ultrasound machine and the doctor was doing the ultrasound, they were chit-chatting, and then at some point, she noticed that the doctor grew very serious and that she grew increasingly quiet, more and more quiet. So after turning more and more quiet for a few minutes, the doctor actually turned to my client and she told her, you know what? There is something there that doesn't belong and I don't like it. It doesn't look good. She told her, there's something in your breast, there's a big mass in your breast, and I'm going to have to refer you to a specialist. I'm very sorry. I don't like what I'm seeing. This isn't looking good. My client tells me that naturally, at that point, in that moment, she got overcome by fear. She got overcome by despair. She had all these horrible thoughts, all these horrible feelings. So my client went home and then she had to tell her daughter, and her daughter hugged her, and that made her feel even more horrible and even more in despair and even more scared and even more anxious. But at some point, after she overcame those first horrible feelings, those first few moments, those first few hours, she realized that she still had the power in her hands. So then she told herself, she reminded herself that she didn't have to accept this outcome. She didn't have to accept that she was sick. She didn't have to accept that there was a mass in her breast that was very likely breast cancer. And she resolved to tell herself and convince herself that she was actually healthy. She told me that she stayed in a very, very neutral feeling. There was not much emotion. It was just sheer determination. There was this very deep inner knowing that I'm okay, I am healthy, this is nothing, I am absolutely healthy, and there is nothing else I accept. So then her specialist appointment comes, and the specialist gives her another test, another ultrasound, and they tell her the same thing that the original doctor also said. They said, there is something there in your breast, it is big. The doctor said the same thing. They said, I don't like it, it's not looking good. And he said, at that point, you're going to have surgery and we're going to have to send it for biopsy. But just so you're warned, this doesn't look good. I don't like what I'm seeing. It doesn't belong there and it's also big. So it has to come out, it has to be biopsied, and basically be prepared for the worst news. So obviously my client still had moments of fear, still had moments where she wavered, still had moments where she felt horrible and she felt in despair and what if this is cancer and this is probably cancer, what am I going to do and all that. However, she would quickly pull herself back together. She would quickly pull herself back into a state of, I know I'm healthy, I know I'm well. And she had that dominant determination that she was healthy, that she was well, and that nothing bad was going to happen to her, nothing bad was happening to her, and that this was nothing, and that this was going to turn out to be nothing. So now the time comes for her to go in for surgery. And before her surgery, the doctors say, you know what, let's do another ultrasound just so that we have a baseline and we have some reference to compare what was before the surgery with what's going to be after the surgery, after we take out your mass. So they sent her for another ultrasound. She goes into the ultrasound machine, and guess what happens? There is no mass. There is no mass to be seen anywhere. The ultrasound specialist keeps looking and looking and looking, and there is no mass. They even took the pictures from her previous ultrasounds that showed a pretty sizable mass, a pretty big mass. They compared, and they were looking at the two pictures from the two exams, the two tests, and they were saying, how is that possible? How is that the same person? There was a big mass there in this one, and now here there is nothing. They were completely confused, they were completely baffled, they were completely surprised and speechless and didn't know what to make of it. So then they said, you know what, obviously we can't find anything, we can't give you surgery today, but just to be certain, just to be sure, come back in 2 weeks, let's repeat that ultrasound, and let's see if we're able to see anything then in 2 weeks' time. So then she goes back 2 weeks later, and there's still nothing there. There's still nothing in the ultrasound, no mass. That huge thing, that big thing that they found in the first 2 ultrasounds was not there. It was completely clear. There was nothing to be seen, nothing to be found. She was declared completely healthy, completely well. She needed no surgery, no biopsy. She went home and she was healed. And as you will have probably figured, because all of you watching this channel are at least somewhat familiar with conscious manifesting, you're at least somewhat familiar with what our consciousness can do, with what can happen if we move our consciousness from one state to another. We can completely, entirely, 100% quantum leap into a different reality. That includes curing what was seemingly cancer, what both doctors heavily implied was breast cancer, and they just needed a biopsy to confirm it officially, but from what they were seeing and from their years of experience as doctors, they basically knew and they hinted very strongly that it was breast cancer. And then this client was able to move her consciousness from, I most likely have breast cancer, I have a big mass in my breast, this is not looking good, this is most likely breast cancer, to I'm completely healthy, I'm well, there is nothing wrong with me, there is nothing bad happening to me, nothing bad is going to happen to me, this is going to be nothing. And what happened? Through her moving her consciousness from what was happening in the 3D, from what she was being told that you most likely have breast cancer, to another state where she felt and convinced herself, and she had this deep conviction, this deep knowing that she was well, that she was healthy. That mass that was most likely breast cancer, confirmed by 2 specialists, an ultrasound specialist and a breast cancer specialist, just disappeared. It just vanished. Within a matter of a few days or a few weeks, however long it was from the second ultrasound to the date she was scheduled for surgery. So the teachable moment here is very, very obvious. Once you move your consciousness from one state to another state, and you disregard what the 3D might be showing you, you disregard what people around you might be telling you, even doctors who are specialists and who have presumably seen thousands of breast cancers in their medical career. So they wouldn't have scared her, they wouldn't have told her this isn't looking good if they weren't sure enough that this truly wasn't something good. And yet she disregarded all that. She went within, she shifted her state to someone who is healthy, to someone who is well, to knowing that she was healthy, she was going to be declared healthy, she was going to be declared well, nothing was going to happen to her. Yes, she still had her moments of fear, she still had her moments of wavering, but she didn't let that become her dominant state. She didn't let that overcome her. She still persisted in her main assumption, in her main dominant state, in her main dominant energy, the energy of I'm healthy and I'm well, and the miracle came. The third ultrasound showed nothing. Where before there was a big mass, now there was nothing. So I hope you take a lot of inspiration from this story. I hope you're able to realize and see the proof that our consciousness does truly create our reality, that where we move our consciousness is what we ultimately get to experience in our 3D. And I hope this story, this seemingly impossible shift, this seemingly impossible change, inspires you all and proves to you all that wherever you put your consciousness is what you get to experience, is what you see more of. If you put your consciousness on disease, in this case, and on the fear of disease and of the fear of being sick and being unwell, that's what you're going to experience. If you instead put your consciousness on health, on wellness, on I'm whole, on nothing bad is going to happen to me, this is nothing, this is also what you get to experience. And so needless to say, I'm very proud of her. I'm so happy for her. I didn't know she was going through this for the last several weeks. I hadn't talked to her in several weeks, but I had no idea this was what she was going through. And she came through as a manifestor, as a master manifestor, in the most flying colors, in the most brilliant, amazing, unimaginable, incredible way. She quantum leaped herself from a breast cancer patient that was just pending a biopsy confirmation to someone who was completely healthy, completely well, completely cured, and completely healed. And the 3D was now following suit with the third ultrasound showing nothing. So I hope this story inspires you. I hope this story helps you keep going. If you're feeling doubts, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling insecure about your manifestation, think of this story, go back to this video, watch it again, take heart and take courage from it, because guys, it truly is as simple as that. Where you put your consciousness, that is what you see more of. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.